Shocking, powerful prayer reveals secrets to bring your child back to God and expel evil from home. Few knew what truly happened that night in the small, dimly lit town of Bethany. The air crackled, thick with fear and unspoken dread. It was the hour when shadows grew long and whispers filled the dark corners of homes. In a modest house, at the end of a narrow street, a mother knelt fervently by a flickering candle, clinging to hope as the world outside seemed to spiral into chaos. Mary, the woman of the house, felt a tightness in her chest as she looked around. Strange things had been occurring lately. The walls seemed to whisper, shadows danced where they shouldn't, and the laughter of her child echoed hollowly, fading into silence. Her beloved son, who once found joy in the stories of David and Goliath, was now lost, drawn into the clutches of something sinister. The warmth of his bright spirit seemed extinguished, replaced by a haunting emptiness. The night was pregnant with secrets, and as she prayed, she recalled the ancient stories of the prophets. Moments of unspeakable miracles, divine encounters. She gripped her rosary tighter, each bead smooth and cool under her trembling fingers. Could a simple prayer hold such power? Could it reach across the veil of darkness that seemed to engulf her child? The desperation clawed at her insides, and a lump formed in her throat as she beseeched the heavens for guidance. And then it happened. A breeze flickered across the room, carrying with it a soft, almost musical whisper. Believe it was both an invitation and a command. Mary froze, eyes wide. A chill trickled down her spine. Was this a sign? Or merely the fanciful imagination of a distraught mother? She glanced at the window, half expecting a figure cloaked in light to appear. The tension was unbearable. Something palpable was shifting in the atmosphere, and it felt as if the very fabric of reality trembled in anticipation. The floor creaked behind her. A soft footstep echoed, like a gunshot in the stillness. Panic surged. Was it her son? Or something else entirely? Her heart raced, thumping in her ears, drowning out the quiet of the night. She turned slowly, hesitant, but deep down, she knew she couldn't escape the truth any longer. What if the darkness that cloaked her child was more than just a phase? What if it was an invasion of evil itself? The stories her grandmother told her about demonic spirits flooded her mind, tales laced with fear and warning. Mary was filled with trepidation, her body a frozen statue. She gripped her faith tightly, the only weapon she had left. Suddenly, the candle flickered wildly. The air grew electric. The shadows in the corners stretched longer, twisting ominously. In that moment, she realized spiritual warfare was real, and she was at the epicenter. As she raised her voice in powerful prayer, a thunderous clap echoed outside. The house trembled. The windows rattled. And Mary's heart nearly stopped. Had she just invoked something beyond her understanding? Was she about to uncover secrets buried in the depths of time? All she could think was that now was the moment of revelation. The silence that followed was deafening. And with it came the question that lingered heavy on her lips. Would her child return to her, or had she awakened forces that could never be tamed? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The stillness that followed Mary's upheaval was thick enough to cut. As she stood resolute, her breath deep and steady, she heard the faint scent of something like burning sage swirling around her calm after the storm of her prayer. Her heart was a drum, beating not just for herself, but for her son, who she could feel was still fighting unseen battles. Moments passed, seconds stretching into eternity, and Mary's eyes fell on a small wooden chest tucked away in the corner. It had belonged to her mother, and contained remnants of a past filled with hope and resilience. With hesitation, she approached it, the weight of its significance not lost on her. Inside, she found trinkets of blessings, rosaries woven with care, and a small parchment with a simple phrase written in her mother's hand. "Remember who you are and where you come from." Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, as if echoing from that very parchment, infusing the air with an urgency that stirred her spirit. Mary realized that she possessed not only the power of prayer, but also the legacy and faith of generations. What if this battle was not solely hers? What if she could call upon the strength of her ancestors? Determined, Mary closed her eyes again and took a deep breath. "I stand not just as a mother," she asserted to the darkened corners of her home, "but as a daughter of faith, a descendant of warriors who face darkness with light." As she spoke those words, her voice grew louder, more confident, commanding the shadows to disperse. And then, as if in response to her declaration, the temperature in the room dropped. A gust of wind howled through the window, forcing it open wide, letting in the scent of rain-soaked earth and the cry of distant thunder. The platform between realms had thinned, and Mary sensed it. Would this be the moment the truth revealed itself? "Come forth," she called out into the darkness, her heart racing with both fear and resolve. "I am here, ready to stand against you." Just then, a heavy silence fell, broken only by the sound of her son's footsteps approaching. The hairs on Mary's neck stood on end, and the air around her vibrated with anticipation. Could it be him? Would he return unscathed, his spirit untarnished? The door creaked open. In stepped her son, looking pale and weary. His eyes, once bright and twinkling like stars, now seemed clouded. The flickering candlelight cast shadows over his face, drawing attention to the tension etched in his features. Mary moved towards him, reaching out as storm clouds erupted overhead, rain pouring in torrents, and thunder rumbling in the heavens. Mama's voice trembled, barely above a whisper. "It's all right, my love," she soothed, a mix of relief and dread swelling within her. "You're home." Yet, that very phrase caught in her throat. Was he truly home, or had he returned with something more? In that moment, the room felt charged with possibilities. They stood at the precipice of understanding, teetering between realms of light and dark. Would her son's return be a herald of hope, or a harbinger of deeper mysteries still to unfold? She leaned closer, searching his eyes desperately for a glimmer of the boy she once knew. What happened out there? His gaze shifted, and the shadows in his eyes deepened. "I saw things, Mom, things I shouldn't have." The realization struck Mary like lightning. Her child had been embroiled not just in a personal trial, but a larger, cosmic struggle. The battle was not over. The darkness may have receded, but it lingered, waiting, poised to cling to him once more. As they locked eyes, a question arose within her spirit, echoing the very heartbeat of the universe's mystery. Was her love powerful enough to lead him back, or would the lingering shadows of the night consume both of them in their grasp, unraveling the fragile threads of their lives? The tension in the room lingered like a storm cloud that refused to rain. Mary felt the weight of her son's burdens in the frailness of his voice, a fragile echo of the vibrant spirit she had nurtured. Her mind raced with questions, but one stood resolute above the rest. How could she guide him back from the precipice? "Tell me, my son," she urged softly, her voice a gentle caress against the storm. "What did you see? What did you feel?" She hoped to unearth any seed of hope within the dark soil of his experiences. He hesitated, glancing towards the shadowed corners of the room, as if the darkness itself might answer for him. "I was in a place where shadows speak, and they whispered against my thoughts. They showed me choicest paths laid bare, yet veiled in fear. I felt so small, so lost." His hand trembled, and Mary reached for it, intertwining their fingers. The flickering candlelight accentuated the tautness in his features, illuminating the conflict raging within. But there was also light amidst the shadows, he continued, a warmth that called to me, a light that felt like home. It whispered of love and courage, of deeds done by your ancestors. His words hung in the air, palpable and charged with connection. Mary's heart quickened at this revelation, the roots of her family's strength blooming anew as she recalled her mother's parchment. This legacy of faith, she murmured, is not merely history, it is alive within us. But my love, where do we find the path through the shadows? Her voice trembled slightly, a prayer escaping her lips, cloaked in both hope and trepidation. Do we call upon the strength of the ages? Do we invite the light to fill these dark spaces? She was beginning to feel that there was more to their journey than mere personal resilience. A deep rumble of thunder resonated outside, shaking the house. Mary felt her heart synchronize with the thunderclaps, as if the heavens themselves were affirming her question. There was a power accompanying her words, a transformative energy blossoming from uncertainty. Yes, her son finally said, his voice steadier. I saw the battles, and even in my worst moments, I sensed an unseen force encouraging me, telling me to remember who I am. He looked deeply into her eyes, the unspoken bond between them thrumming like a taut string. Mom, the light fought back, pushing the shadows away, but I need your help to make it stay. The darkness is cunning. It seeks a way back in. Mary understood instantly. This was not merely a familial struggle but a spiritual confrontation far greater than herself. Then we will not stand idle, she resolved, a holy determination flooding her essence. Together, we will summon the light. Together, we will reclaim what was lost. With eyes closed, Mary took a deep breath, feeling the energy shift in the space around them. The air thickened with palpable intent as she drew upon her past, the prayers of generations swelling within her heart, an orchestra of divine connection, a melody tinged with ancient truth. Let us pray, she urged, gripping her son's hands tighter, feeling his heart sink with hers. We call forth the strength of our ancestors. We seek divine intervention, a cleansing of our home and our spirits. May every shadow that clings to us flee like smoke in the wind. As they prayed, the shadows seemed to flicker, to quiver in response to their unified voices, as if compelled to yield. Mary felt a rush of warmth envelop them, a wave of clarity cascading through her. Each word emboldened them, weaving an intricate tapestry of faith around their vulnerable souls. Yet amidst the swell of strength, a flicker of doubt crept in beside them, a whisper of uncertainty taunting from the very darkness they sought to dispel. Could they truly cast away the shadows that lingered in silence? As her voice reached a fervent crescendo, a sudden chill flooded the room, chilling Mary to her core. Was it an omen of what was to come, a test of their faith? Or a reminder that even in the light, lurking uncertainties threatened to breach the threshold of their hearts? In that moment, a profound question emerged, echoing through the depths of her very being. How did they navigate the thin line between light and darkness? And what unseen forces would challenge their shared journey back toward the hope they desperately sought? Mary's plea hung heavy in the air, draping the room in a cloak of anticipation. The shadows seemed to pulse, shifting as though they carried within them secrets stifled only by her prayer. She wondered if the very act of their supplication had invoked something beyond their understanding, a force neither wholly benevolent nor malevolent, but one that straddled the intricate fabric of their world. What if this light we invoke has its own trials to test us? She pondered aloud, drawing her son's gaze again. What if it requires more than our voices? What if it asks for our hearts? His brow furrowed, each crease a question unspoken. What do you mean? He had not the strength to sift through the myriad of emotions that flashed through him like lightning illuminating a fierce storm. Mary took a moment, gathering her thoughts like strands of a complex tapestry. Consider the tales of old, the ones we have always held dear. They did not speak of simple victories. They were rife with challenges of the spirit, reminders that to live in the light often means to confront the darkness within. Perhaps our convictions will be tested, as theirs were. A ripple of uncertainty passed between them, and she could see it reflected in her son's eyes. But how do we prepare for such tests, Mother? What if we're not strong enough? He countered, the weight of apprehension rooting him. Her heart ached at his vulnerability. We cannot anticipate every trial, nor can we summon courage as if it were a tangible thing. But we can foster an awareness of our hearts, understanding the fears that lie within, the shadows we have carried unnoticed. It is through that understanding that we may begin to disentangle ourselves from the dark. Mary's thoughts drifted to the elders, who had shared wisdom with her in her youth. They had recounted stories of facing one's inner demons, each encounter a crucible, shaping the soul in ways that were often painful yet vital for growth. We must trust the journey, my son, she said gently, feeling the gravity of their situation as an inheritance from the very roots of their lineage. Sometimes, the only way to liberate ourselves from shadows is to face them head-on. A gust of wind rattled the shutters, an echo of the more robust whirlwinds yet to come. Then we do confront our fears? He asked, a flicker of hope sparking in his voice. Yes, she affirmed, her own resolve strengthening. But not alone. We are bound to each other through love and faith, and we will face whatever is to come. Let us not forget those who walked ahead of us. They drew upon one another to triumph over their darkness. In that moment, Mary's thought turned inward. Was hope itself a fragile thing? The kind that requires the nurturing warmth of shared faith to blossom? She took her son's hands once more, feeling the electric connection that bound them, a tether sparking against the uncertainty. Let us begin with honesty. What are you most afraid of, my love? She ventured cautiously, her eyes searching as he hesitated, the shadows of his doubts reflecting back through the shimmering candlelight. I fear becoming lost again, he confessed finally. In those shadows, everything felt so real, so infinite. I understand more than you know, she whispered, drawing nearer, wrapping her arms around him as if they could create an impenetrable sanctuary. Every person bears the breath of their struggles, yet we are never defined by them. It is in how we choose to rise that writes our legacy. As she held him tightly, a silence fell over the room, a sacred moment filled with a sense of something greater looming just beyond the door of their hearts. What would it reveal when they began to clear the mists of fear and uncertainty together? The taste of impending revelation charged the air, but unease lingered in the periphery, an invitation for doubt to creep in. Still, a singular thought resided at the heart of her contemplation. What is the true nature of the light they seek, and will it illuminate the darkest corners of their souls, or the hidden truths they are yet to face? The hours lengthened, and heavy silence enveloped the room as Mary and her son clung to each other, fortified in their resolve yet cloaked in uncertainty. Shadows danced erratically on the walls, twisting and folding into shapes that spoke of past fears and present anxieties. Outside, the world continued in its unyielding rhythm, oblivious to the internal struggle unfolding within the humble abode. Mary's heart thrummed with a delicate harmony of hope and trepidation. Could their act of faith guide them through the perilous waters ahead? Her thoughts turned to the stories of their ancestors, those who roamed amidst trials far greater than theirs. How did they confront the darkness, and what did they learn in the crucible of their faith? Suddenly, a gentle humming sounded from the corner of the room, its melody soft yet piercing through the veil of their contemplative silence. Mary and her son turned, their eyes wide, searching for the source. The air shimmered momentarily, and an ethereal glow began to seep into the corners, casting aside the shadows momentarily and inviting an otherworldly presence. "Do you feel that?" he whispered. The question hung heavy with unspoken gravity. "I do," Mary replied, both drawn to and wary of the luminous presence now enveloping them like a warm embrace. "It is a call of the spirit, one we must listen to, my son." The sound transformed into a chant, resonating with a power that spoke directly to their souls. Though the words were not clear, The message was unmistakable, a plea for surrender intertwined with a promise of guidance. "What does it mean?" he questioned, wide-eyed, grappling with the need to decipher the sound. Mary closed her eyes, allowing the melody to transport her, a feeling of profound clarity washing over her like a river. "It means we are not alone. We have a guide in our journey, one that walks beside us in our struggles. We must open our hearts to understand why this moment feels sacred." In response, the glow intensified, casting intricate patterns of light that swirled around them, illuminating the traces of their fears, hopes, and unexpressed thoughts. Each compartment of their hearts, previously locked away, seemed to flutter under the illumination, and Mary felt a pressing urgency to confront them. "Look closely," she advised gently. "What do you see in this light?" Her son squinted, overwhelmed by the swirling images. "I see my fear of failure, of not living up to the expectations others place on me. I see unhappiness in those moments, and the loneliness they bring." Mary nodded, understanding dawning upon her as she sensed his turmoil entwined with the radiant glow around him. "And in this light, what else?" As he focused, he saw flickering flashes of joyful memories, to the laughter of children, the unwavering support of their family, the moments of divine presence that felt instantly significant. "I see love and happiness, but can it wash away the fear?" he asked, a desperate plea sliding through his words. Just then, the music shifted, crescendoing into a symphony of gentle whispers that spoke of renewal, of breaking free from the chains of the past. "The light does not promise that shadows will disappear," Mary explained softly, "but it offers you courage to embrace your truths, to transform them through love." Her thoughts spiraled into contemplation. If the light revealed more than their external fears, might it unveil hidden potentials as well? What could it mean to harness such power from the prayer they invoked? "Imagine if this journey reveals something greater," Mary mused, her curiosity ignited. "Perhaps this is an opportunity, a chance to redefine not only who we are but who we might become together." As the glow began to dissipate, leaving behind an echo of warmth that lingered in the air, a sense of purpose filled the room where once doubt resided. Once more, Mary turned to her son, searching for his eyes, now shining with a blend of wonder and resolve. What if embracing the unknown is the only way to truly find ourselves? How do we allow this light to guide our path forward, even as darkness lingers? Their hearts echoed with the shared desire, soft understanding, of strength, and the pursuit of wisdom. Questions, now awash in a river of divine possibility, filled the air, waiting for answers to unfold in their next steps. Would they dive into the depths of their unknowns and emerge transformed? Or would the shadows creep back, thwarting their resolve? As the last remnants of the ethereal light faded, Mary and her son felt the weight of their shared moment settle heavily upon them. The echoes of their thoughts intertwined with the solemnity of their circumstances, creating a tapestry of uncertainty that lingered in the corners of their hearts. Outside, the world continued its relentless pace, unaware of the transformation unfolding within. "What shall we do next?" her son asked, his voice a blend of hesitation and newfound determination. "How do we embrace this calling?" Mary took a deep breath, drawing strength from the memory of that luminous presence. "Let us seek guidance through prayer," she suggested. "For in prayer, we open ourselves to understanding the mysteries that lie ahead." They knelt on the ground, their hands clasped together, and Mary's heart began to pulse with an ancient rhythm, each beat a reminder of centuries of faith that preceded them. "Lord of all creation, hear our humble plea," she spoke, her voice steady but laced with vulnerability. "Guide us through these uncertain waters to find clarity, purpose, and peace." As they prayed, the memories of those who walked the path of faith before them flooded Mary's mind. Moses with his doubts, Ruth in her loyalty, David in his despair and triumph. "Help us to glean from their trials," she continued, feeling the weight of her voice reverberate through the air, "that we might also emerge refined through our adversity." With each word, she sensed a collective spirit join them in that small room, as if the prayers of countless souls echoed through time, intertwining with their own. The melody returned, this time softer yet more resonant, wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. As their prayer deepened, Mary felt the familiar warmth of hope blossom within her heart. "What greater purpose awaits us?" she whispered, her words barely audible yet filled with wonder. Her son remained silent, his gaze fixed upon the dim light of a lone oil lamp flickering in the corner, mirroring the flicker of hope igniting in his chest. Suddenly, a subtle shift in the atmosphere caused their prayer to crumble into stillness. The air thickened, pregnant with the weight of unspoken revelation. A fleeting shadow danced across the wall, hinting at the lingering darkness just beyond the veil of prayer they had woven. "Do you see it?" he gasped, pointing to the flickering shadow. "It feels wrong." Mary's heart raced, entwined in a mix of fear and resolve. "It is the challenge we must face, my son. What we confront in this moment could reveal much about our resolved unseen burdens that threaten our peace," she said, steadying herself against the encroaching dread. "What if it is more than just our fears? What if it carries a weight that seeks to undermine our faith?" He pondered, his voice trembling as they both faced the dark silhouette that seemed to taunt them. "Then we affirm our prayers with action," Mary responded, her conviction igniting within. "For we have called upon the divine, and the power that resides in this sacred space cannot be easily subdued." Holding hands, they united in a deeper plea, one fueled by the urgency of their moment. "In the name of the Almighty, we call upon your strength to stand against this darkness. Let our faith be the light that dispels the shadows, that we may reclaim our peace." The air shifted once more, the invisible presence reacting to their fervor. A faint whisper echoed through the room, soft yet commanding, entering their hearts with profound resonance. "Trust. Trust each step, for every confrontation holds the chance for liberation." "How do we trust when the fear threatens to engulf us?" her son asked, the weight of the unknown pressing against his chest. "We begin by acknowledging the fear," Mary explained softly. "Each step forward may be wobbly, but with faith, we can redirect its power toward our purpose. Fear, when faced, becomes a catalyst for growth." As their voices floated in the stillness, the shadows receded slightly, but still lingered, mere echoes of what lay beyond their immediate understanding. The transformative journey was only beginning, and a deeper mystery awaited. "What must we learn from this darkness?" he whispered, his earlier courage punctuated by a lingering doubt. As Mary considered his question, her gaze drifted back toward the faint glow of the oil lamp, realizing that her desire for clarity still hung in the balance. "Perhaps, within the heart of our fear lies a secret that leads to our true calling. What if darkness is not only to be dispelled but understood? Might it hold the key to our destiny?" Their minds swirled with the weight of unanswered questions, the shadows still wrapping around their hearts as they prepared to move forward. Would they find solidarity in their strength against the darkness, or would the edges of uncertainty fray their resolve instead? As Mary and her son lingered in their prayer, the atmosphere hummed with an energy that was palpable, a strange undercurrent that pulled at the very fabric of their understanding. With each breath, they inhaled purpose, exhaling doubt, a rhythm that seemed to echo in the silence surrounding them, vibrating through the walls. "What if the darkness embodies more than our fears?" her son questioned, gazing intently at the flickering shadows. "What if it reflects the world, a realm filled with lost souls? Should we not seek to understand it?" Mary pondered this thought, feeling the weight of his words settle heavily in her heart. Darkness, after all, was not merely a void, it was the absence of light, a condition where understanding turned opaque. "Then let us ponder over its nature, my son. We shall confront it not as adversaries, but as seekers of truth. Can we face that which we do not know?" He pressed, the flickering light of the lamp casting wavering hues upon his face, masking his youthful features in uncertainty. "Faith, my child, is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen," she replied, recalling the words of the ancients who walked a path similar to theirs. To engage with the mystery of our fears is to step into a narrative much larger than ourselves. Just then, they perceived a faint glow emanating from the periphery of the shadows, a warmth that pulsed gently, beckoning them closer. With hesitance, they turned towards it, feeling an inexplicable draw of flicker of warmth in an ocean of uncertainty. Is it a sign? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Could it be a beacon? Or perhaps the promise of enlightenment? Mary mused, as they both took a step toward the glow. Let us approach with cautious hearts, and yet open minds. As they inched closer, the light shimmered and split into delicate forms, illuminating ancient visions that momentarily danced before their eyes, the faces of countless souls long forgotten, each with stories that wove through time, tales of hope and despair, valleys of shadows and mountains of faith. Each figure mirrored a battle, a question, a yearning just like their own. You see them? Mary breathed, captivated by the specters of history converging in their prayer, bringing forth a sacred communion. Are they here to guide us? He wondered, an ember of hope glistening in the depths of his apprehension. With eyes wide in wonder, Mary whispered, perhaps they are here to share the burdens of their trials, to counsel us that we are not alone in this journey. In that moment, the visions began to converge, forming a tapestry of light that pulsed and shimmered. The air thickened around them, laden with a mixture of nostalgia and expectation, as if history itself leaned in close to listen. Mary sensed the interconnectedness of their plight with those who faltered before them, how each struggle, each shadow, bore the potential for deeper understanding and unfathomable strength. Let us remember, my son, the strength lies not in facing this darkness in isolation, but standing courageously alongside those who have borne the same weight. What do we do then? He asked, growing both excited and apprehensive. We reach inward, nurturing courage and wisdom, letting the experiences of those who came before us mesh with ours. We must seize the intent of our gathering, transform fear into faith, and shadows into light, she encouraged, her voice firm and intimate all at once. But as they stepped into that light, a sudden chill surrounded them, pulling them back to the reality of their small room. The visions flickered before fading, leaving an echo in their hearts. The darkness remained. It had not retreated but lingered, whispering its own intentions. What must we remember? Her son murmured, a shadow of doubt crossing his features once more. We shall remember that the road ahead may be fraught with darkness, yet within that darkness lies the journey of enlightenment. Let us ask ourselves, what lessons must we gather from the stories of those who came before us about resilience in the face of adversity? Can we truly transform the fear into a beacon of hope? He questioned, as their resolve began to coalesce. An unspoken promise resided between them. Mary placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, embracing both the weight of their uncertainties and the glimmer of their shared commitment. The answer to that question shapes the path we choose to walk. Our journey may not yield answers, but together we can navigate the mystery before us. As they stood, hands encased in one another's, the shadows curled at the edges once more, their shapes twisting like smoke, leaving a lingering question echoing in the quiet space. What redemption awaits those brave enough to transcend their fears and embrace the murky depths of their truths? As the flickering candlelight resumed its steady glow, Mary felt a shift in the atmosphere, as if the very air held its breath in quiet anticipation. Nestled in their sacred space, the familiarity of the room surrounded them, yet it felt fraught with unseen challenges woven invisibly in the corners. Shall we continue to seek? Her son asked, his voice now firmer, laden with both trepidation and resolve. What if the shadows come not merely to frighten us, but to reveal hidden treasures within? Mary nodded, recognizing the courage blossoming in him. Indeed, the shadows may harbor lessons, truths obscured by the very fears they represent. She closed her eyes for a moment, centering her thoughts. Let us seek understanding through our prayers. Perhaps in our supplication we might unravel the mysteries of this darkness. Cradling her palms together, she began to whisper her prayers softly, invoking the wisdom of ancient prophets and sages who had once traversed similar paths of uncertainty. She spoke not only for herself, but for every soul seeking light in the encroaching dark. Her son joined her, their voices melding into a chorus that resonated with depth and yearning. "Please guide us," he breathed. "Show us the meaning behind this darkness. Turn our fear into understanding, our silence into wisdom." The flame of the candle wavered, drawing thin tendrils of smoke that coiled like restless spirits reaching for release. A solemn hush enveloped them, and for a moment, the outside world faded away, leaving only the soft echo of their prayers. In this sacred communion, Mary's heart ached with the weight of unspoken burdens of fears that resided not only within her, but within her son and their community. "Do you feel it?" she asked, opening her eyes to meet his gaze. "The energy of our prayer? It is a call, a reaching out across the expanse of existence." Her son nodded, a spark of realization lighting his features. Could it be that our prayers connect us to the past, to those who face shadows far graver than ours? "Yes," Mary exclaimed, her passion igniting. "Each prayer we utter is a thread binding us to those who walk before us. Our fears become vessels of connection, and in this shared history lies immense strength. As they continued their prayers, a distant echo began to form a resonance that felt both familiar and mysterious. Shapes danced within the shadows, and as they squinted through the dim light, images coalesced once again. They saw figures, not merely lost souls, but guides, mentors, and advocates standing resolute in the face of trials. Are they not reminders, Mary pondered aloud, of our shared human experience? Every life lived with struggle births wisdom, a wisdom we can lean upon. Just then, a warm breeze swept through the room, stirring the candle's flame, but not snuffing it out. It intertwined around them, a gentle embrace filled with the validation of their journey. Their prayers transformed into a cosmic thread that tied them to every heart that had longed for light in the darkness. Jesus spoke of the power of prayer, her son recalled, his voice gaining strength. What if our prayer invokes that very promise? What if it is more than requested, is the very act of opening ourselves to transformation? "Precisely," Mary replied, feeling the swell of hope rising within. "In vulnerable moments, we permit ourselves to be transformed, igniting the spirit that resides within. It is here that shadows become the backdrop to the light we seek. Our doubts, our troubles, they facilitate an altar where we can exchange our burdens for wisdom." As they prayed fervently, the shadows began to shift, coalescing into impressions of weary travelers, each burdened yet steadfast. Their faces were etched with determination, serving as a powerful reminder that they, too, once grappled with darkness yet found their way through faith and fellowship. "Is this the lesson then?" her son asked, overwhelmed by the presence growing around them. "That the journey is shared, a collective effort towards understanding?" Mary affirmed his sentiment, allowing her heart to resonate with the truth. Indeed, let us cherish that thought. As we unravel our fears together, we weave a tapestry of resilience and compassion, the very fabric of faith. With that, they clasped hands, pouring their hopes into a vibrant pact, fiercely determined to face the darkness together. The uncertainty of what lay ahead loomed omnipresent, yet within them burned an ember of courage that refused to dim. What awaits those who intertwine their paths with the wisdom of the past? Mary questioned, pondering the lessons hidden in the shadows, in the stories yet unwritten. And as they stood united in prayer, the lingering question remained: how far can faith take them, when tethered to a history powerful enough to light their way through the darkest nights? As their voices subsided into silence, the candle's flame grew steady once more, casting elongated shadows that slithered across the walls, like ancient spirits yearning to impart their wisdom. In that stillness, Mary sensed a shift in the energy surrounding them, an invitation to explore deeper realms of understanding. Do you feel that? she asked softly, her fingers trembling slightly, as she felt an electric current brush against her skin. The air was thick with a palpable aura, as if something divinely appointed was unfolding before them. "Yes, mother," her son replied, eyes wide with curiosity. "It feels as though we are on the precipice of revelation." "What do you think it could mean?" Mary took a deep breath, pulling on the courage that had fueled their earlier prayers. "Perhaps," she mused, "we are being beckoned to venture beyond the veil of our current understanding. The shadows hold experiences waiting to be illuminated by our seeking hearts." Through the veil of darkness, new images began to materialize. They came not as mere specters, but distinct figures wrapped in the narratives of faith, an assemblage of prophets and ancestors the likes of which Mary's eyes had never beheld. Each one seemed to exude a light that flickered like the flickering candle, a soft glow reminding her of their shared struggles. Could it be, she pondered aloud, that they are here to guide us? To show us the threads of fate that connect them to our plight? Her son leaned closer, captivated. What if they bear secrets to help us turning inner shadows outward? Secrets that not only illuminate our path, but those of our community? In that moment, the air shifted again, and a figure stepped forth, illuminated by a radiant glow. It bore a familiar face, one Mary recognized from stories whispered by the fire during the long winter nights, the visage of a revered prophet, known for his wisdom in crisis. "Mary," he spoke, the words echoing like a gentle breeze, "you and your son stand at a crucial juncture. In your prayers, you have reached out, and the expanse of your faith has summoned the remembrance of those who walked this path before you." The prophet gestured towards the swirling tapestry of shadows, revealing the intertwined lives of those who had tread similar journeys. Each shadow carries with it a story, a lesson etched within every heart that chose to confront its fears rather than flee. Her son, entranced, asked, "What then is our role? How do we decipher their messages? How can we ensure that our cries for help do not echo unheard?" "You must look within and without," the prophet replied, his eyes piercing yet compassionate. "The darkness holds not just terror, but the very fabric of potential. When you face the shadows, consider not just what they reveal, but why you fear them in the first place. Where there is fear, there is often an invitation to growth, to something greater." Mary reflected on this, an understanding beginning to dawn. So we are not meant merely to dispel shadows, but to embrace them as tools for our transformation? Indeed, the prophet affirmed. As you press forward, you will understand that your faith is a twofold journey, a search for understanding that encompasses both the light and the dark within. And it is these very trials that forge a path for others. What of those close to us who stray in their faith? Her son inquired, the urgency evident in his voice. How might we bring them back to the light? In prayer, you uncover layers of grace, the prophet responded. Pray not solely for their return, but for your own understanding and compassion toward their journey. Repentance can shine in the midst of shadows, and oftentimes, what seems lost is merely waiting for the warmth of your light to make it whole again. Encourage them to share their burdens with you, for unity in struggles brings forth healing. Mary's heart swelled with newfound clarity, but a question lingered within her: could the shadows of fear truly relinquish their hold when faced with love and understanding? This journey of intertwining faith, does it carry the weight of the past, or does it evoke a greater truth for the present? As the prophet's figure began to fade, he left them with one last thought, a lingering whisper in the night. It is both. The past offers insights, but it is your present collection of experiences that holds the key to unlocking the future. The shadows retreated slightly, revealing a warmth and presence that urged them to remember their purpose. Mary and her son stood together, hands clasped tightly, filled not only with resolve, but a tender curiosity about the story still unfolding. In the twilight glow, they pondered the question that hung in the air like a shimmering veil yet to be lifted. How does one emerge victorious from shadows? Not by banishing them, but by embracing their lessons and allowing the light within to guide each step forward. In the quiet aftermath of the profound encounter, Mary and her son lingered within the sacred space they had crafted together. The air hummed with possibility, the weight of their shared journey transcending mere words. The flickering candlelight cast gentle patterns across their faces, illuminating both their vulnerabilities and burgeoning resolve. "Do you think it's enough?" her son asked, his voice quaking with the remnants of uncertainty. "Will our journey truly yield the strength we seek? And what of others like us, who drift in the shadows?" Mary, filled with the echoes of wisdom that had unfolded before them, nodded thoughtfully. "We must trust that the light we nurture within can guide us. Just as the ancients sought connection and understanding, we too must lean into our faith, explorations of the heart that reveal the intertwined truths of our lives." A soft rustling reverberated around them, as if nature itself echoed her sentiment. Drawn together in purpose, they knelt once more, this time not just in prayer, but in unity and expression of shared vulnerability and love, a sacred invitation for light to seep into every corner of their souls. "Lord of all creation, grant us the courage to face our fears, and the wisdom to understand our shadows," Mary intoned, her voice resolute and melodic. "Illuminate the path for those who have strayed, and let our collective faith be a beacon that draws them closer." As they finished their prayer, an unexpected surge of warmth enveloped them, wrapping around their hearts as if affirming their call to action. And then came a soft, almost harmonious sound, a whisper of hope weaving through the stillness. "Believe," the ethereal voice echoed, resonating with the melody of the moment and enveloping them in gentle shimmers of light. Suddenly, the candle's flame danced exuberantly, casting away all remnants of lingering shadows. It was as if the very air had unlocked a door to new beginnings. And within that shimmering light, their fears began to dissipate like mist before the dawn. Mary, with her heart aligned to the rhythm of divine possibility, stood tall, her face shining with a blend of determination and grace. "Together, we are forged by the trials we have faced. Let faith guide our actions. Let love enfold those we seek to help. We may not carry all the answers, but we will not retreat from the challenge." Her son, now ignited by the warmth of a shared mission, met her gaze with a newfound flame flickering in his eyes. "We will reach out through love and understanding, not just for those close to us, but for anyone yearning to find their way back into the light." They clasped their hands, a symbol of the collective resolve they had summoned from their hearts. Surrounded by the divine presence that had graced their humble space, they made a pact not merely to banish shadows or dispense fear, but to become conduits of light, sharing the profound revelations of their own journey with the world. "Let us go forth, even into the darkness," Mary declared with steady resolve. "For in every shadow, we will plant seeds of understanding. In every fear, new possibilities take root." In that sacred moment, they resolved not only to confront the shadows of their own lives, but to embrace the struggle of others, seeking connection by sharing stories of love and resilience. They envisioned communities healing from the weight of trials through the warmth of understanding and compassion. As they stepped outside into the world, rain-soaked earth greeted them, cleansing the remnants of doubt. The storm clouds had parted, revealing a brilliant tapestry of stars in the sky, each one a reminder of the many souls intertwined in their journey, guiding them forward. The revelation dawned upon Mary and her son, stronger than any fear that dared to surface. It encapsulated their call to action, that the shadows they had known were not just adversaries, but vital companions on the journey of faith. Each whisper of doubt was a window to understanding. Each battle portrayed the resilience of hope. And so, armed with love and faith, they stepped boldly into the unknown. Their hearts surged with a powerful declaration, to light the way for others, to stand firm in the face of darkness, and to create a bond that transcended fear, and unbreakable connection forged by a shared purpose. "May every step lead us back to the light," Mary whispered, her heart alight with conviction. "For it is in this journey together that we will witness miracles unfold." And beneath that vast, starry sky, they saw not just the night but the promise of dawn, where their hearts, aflame with love, would guide them toward hope and healing revelations that would echo through time, binding souls in a symphony of faith, resilience, and unwavering light.